Once Lancashire hummed to the clickety-clack of hand-operated looms when cotton was king. Textile manufacture continued to employ thousands of people in the mill towns well into the 1970s. Indeed, it was an insatiable demand for labour which led to the recruitment of workers from the Indian subcontinent. But like so many others, the industry barely survived the 1980s, technology and lower labour costs overseas contributing to the abandoned factories that dotted the urban landscape. Now, though, textiles made in Britain are enjoying a resurgence. Caroline Cheetham has been to the family-run Clair de Lune factory in Manchester to examine whether we still have the skills and the infrastructure to sustain it.
Right, come on, Laura, so fast. Get sewing.
You'd be forgiven for assuming this was a factory from the 1970s, when the UK textile industry was in its heyday. Actually, this is one of Manchester's oldest textile factories operating today. Clair de Lune was established over 70 years ago as a family firm to design and manufacture nursery bedding and accessories. At its height, over 30 years ago, the factory employed 60 staff. The majority were skilled cutters and machinists. They supplied almost every high street shop. Carol Elwick has worked here for 4 decades. She's now the production manager.
OK, at the moment you're in the machine room. I have overlockers, I have seam covers and I have flat machinist. I've got a new bench at the back that I'm having set up, and we do want to recruit a little apprentice bench. So we want some young blood coming into machining.
This was once one of thousands of factories across the country. In 1979, the textile industry employed around 851,000 people. But for the past 3 decades, sales have fallen. Cheaper imports from the Far East meant the UK textiles and cotton industry dwindled. Factory after factory closed their doors. At Clair de Lune, staff were laid off and the ones remaining were put on 3-day weeks. Often machinists had no orders at all, but they kept on sewing. Polly Rogers runs the family factory today, with her husband John and his son Guy. She recalls how bleak it was when the orders stopped coming.
I used to come in here and see John sat in his office and he'd just be perplexed. What on earth am I going to do? What direction am I going to go in next? How do I keep the doors open? How can we keep the machines going?
And the orders just weren't coming in?
No, because everybody was buying from the Far East. Everybody wanted to buy from China because it was cheaper, and we were struggling and just trying to keep going day to day, week to week, month to month. And we had to turn it round somehow.
And they have turned it round. Using social media during the recession helped to build their quality brand again. Turnover jumped from 1.7 million to 3.4 million from 2009 to 2011. And this year, turnover is anticipated to reach 5 million. Clair de Lune is one of a number of textile factories seeing a change in their fortunes, with overseas production costs rising and retailers demanding fast turnaround times. Parts of the industry are finally growing again after 35 years in decline. The drive to build a new age of textiles in the UK is being led by the Alliance Project, an initiative funded by the industry and government to prompt growth in textiles once again. It's the brainchild of Liberal Democrat peer Lord David Alliance, the founder of textile empire Coates Viella. Already the project has been instrumental in creating almost 2,000 jobs, with another 20,000 expected by 2020. Lorna Fitzsimons is the director of the Alliance Project and says jobs in textiles are varied and highly desirable.
Whether you're a brainy mathematician and therefore you want to go into merchandising, whether you're good with your fingers and you want to start out on the shop floor, you can advance very, very quickly if you have the desire to do so. But if you decide that you want a job that's about just making things and a simple pleasure, textiles has got a career for you.
But industry experts and academics say the real growth in the UK is only in small areas where the Made in Britain brand is important. And the decline of the industry over the past 30 years means there isn't the infrastructure to compete with overseas producers.
Niche areas are being retained, and that, as we've seen over the last few years, is really all we could expect.
Malcolm Ball is president of the Association of Suppliers to the British clothing industry. He also believes there's a chronic skill shortage here.
10 years ago at least, there was concern to start to recruit and train people through apprenticeships. It never really gained a foothold. I don't think it was seen as an urgent problem at that time, and it's just got worse.
Back at the Clair de Lune factory in Manchester, everybody is busy working on the next large order of quality baby bedding. Production managers Carol and Andrea are in the thick of it.
You get a good team together and you do work as a team and everybody will pull the weight to get an order out. And that's what it's all about, the textile industry, isn't it?
I'm 66. I could have retired 6 years ago, but I'm going to be here for as long as I can. These are my girls. They are my girls. Simple as that.
Caroline Cheetham meeting the staff at Clair de Lune in Manchester.